The Predator. Guys, this movie, I don't even know where to start. This movie really did not hit the mark for me at all. It had a whole lot of what the hell moments in it. Like, me and my friend were sitting there and we kind of looked at each other like, what the hell's going on? I mean, no, not one time did I look at my watch or look at my phone. I wasn't bored, but I was entertained, but it wasn't a Predator movie. It didn't feel like it was a Predator movie. And maybe because I just watched the first one and the second one recently, and this movie did not give me those feelings at all where I was like, okay, this thing's a monster, and this thing's going to kill us, and this thing's out here, and this thing's doing this. This was kind of like a comedy. I mean, they had more comedic relief in this movie. There's a point where Quinn McKenna sat there, and he stopped in the whole movie and took a dump to get the little ball out of his butt. Ball out of his butt, I know, but early in the movie, when he first engaged with a predator, he ended up, I guess, hurting it. And he took its mask and its bracelet. Well, the bracelet popped out a ball. He ended up taking the whole ball down with a bottle of Don Julio. And he swallowed the ball. And that's why he had to poop out the ball. That explains that. Okay. And his son, all of a sudden, this kid out of nowhere who's autistic is like a pure genius. This kid like knows everything and anything there is about language. And he just picks it up quickly. I have a hard time buying all that. I mean, just the other day I saw Lost in Space on Netflix, and I couldn't grasp the fact that these kids were too smart for themselves. And I felt the same way about this movie. Actually, this movie, it felt like it was just poorly written. It felt like it was kind of put together as a joke, and it feels like it belongs on Netflix. It does not belong in the theaters. The movie felt like I was watching Revenge of the Sith for the first couple of seconds. I didn't know what the hell I was watching. I was like, oh, we're watching a Star Wars movie. And I know they're outer space, but they never really showed the outer space aspect in any other Predator movie. So it was kind of like, okay. I mean, we've seen their spaceship, and we know they're from outer space, and we know they're aliens. They make a lot of these jokes about why is it called Predator? Why isn't it just a hunter? Why isn't he just a bass hunter? It's like, okay, well, he's the Predator, and that's what they decided to call him. And then they have these predators who are half human, half predator that's going to come down to Earth to save us. Does this feel like Terminator 2, where Arnold was back to save us? Do you understand what I mean? You understand what I mean. The Predators were back to save us, and then they sent some bigger Predator who I guess was half Predator, half something else, because he was a lot bigger, made from like the giant lion in Super Mario. And he came through, and he's out here trying to hunt this other Predator because he's trying to give us the key to killing them. And it's like, I don't know, the movie just kind of felt like whatever. It moved so fast that it kept you entertained, but at the same time, there's no substance to it. The movie didn't feel like it was a Predator movie. The movie felt like it was a comedy that had science fiction aspects in it. You know, I understand Predators are evolving. We got to write a new story, a new chapter. That's given. You know, every movie's got to do that. But this movie kind of went the other direction. I mean, the Predator dogs were lackluster. The main Predator was kind of weak. And I don't understand. I guess he doesn't fight you if you don't have no weapons on you or something. A big issue I have is with that Dr. Casey Brackett. The woman was a scientist, okay, who looked like she would never touch anything like this in her life. And all of a sudden she's out here killing people, shooting guns and grenades and using alien technology, doing all this stuff. And she was a scientist. A scientist. Like, they could have just made her a Marine that was a scientist. I think that would have worked better. The bad guy in this movie is Will Traeger. Will Traeger is not that good of a bad guy. I didn't feel like he was that good of a bad guy. He didn't feel menacing. I mean, of course, he felt like he had evil intentions, but that just kind of what the government has to do, I guess, right? They kind of have to do these kind of things that no one else wants to do. And that's what he was doing. That's his job. And I don't know, and then all of a sudden he was able to use the alien technology himself, and then at the end he blew his own head off. Like, that was so anticlimactic. Why did he even have this guy as a bad guy? And then at the end he started working with the good guys. The whole movie didn't make sense altogether. It felt like it was just poorly written. It felt like it was just, hey, we'll just throw things on the wall, and whatever sticks, we'll do it for the sequel. If they have a sequel. I don't think they have a sequel. Why don't they just give us a reboot? If they give us a reboot of their first Predator movie, I think that would have just like blew people's heads off, especially with the technology we have nowadays. And a better story, something a little more solid than that movie was. Which there was nothing wrong with that story, but you could add little elements. But I feel like this one, they added too much stuff. I mean, his whole crew were kind of like jokesters, and I understand they had PTSD and all that other stuff, but they were kind of jokesters, and they didn't really play a big role. I mean, they just played their role. My biggest issues was with that Roy McKenna, his little son, and knowing all that stuff. At the end of the movie, he was just typing stuff up like no one's business. Like, hey, I do this stuff. Who cares? Here, bump, bump, bump. And it's like, okay, like, where the hell did that come from? I don't know. Everybody's using alien technology now. It just doesn't make sense how anybody would even know how to use it. They didn't really explain anything like that. The Predator talking to people in translation rather than, using that microphone thing that he did where he would talk to you. If you said something, he would record it and then say it back. They just lost a lot of steam not using the core Predator stuff. They introduced too much stuff and just made it confusing. And they didn't make a good movie. I don't think it's a good movie. Guys, altogether, I give this movie 4 out of 10. I do not like this movie. They should have treated it like a more grounded movie. And I'm not saying everything needs to be a grounded movie, but in this franchise, The Predator should have been a grounded movie. It should have gave you something more than what they gave you with this movie. This is basically a comedy, sci-fi. Guys, I'm Sean B. That's my thoughts. I'll talk to you guys later.